The prehistoric period roughly dates from 2.5 million years ago to 1200 BC. This was when humans lived before written records, and how, for roughly 2.5 million years, humans lived on Earth without leaving a written record of their lives but instead left behind other kinds of remains and artifacts. Humans in the Paleolithic period lived in caves or simple huts, and were mostly hunters and gatherers. They were also the first to leave behind art by using a combination of minerals and charcoal mixed into water, blood, animal fats, and tree saps to etch humans, animals, and signs. They also carved small figurines from stones and clays. Paleolithic art, the oldest art, ornamentation. Extremely old non-representational ornamentation, the action of decorating something and making it more elaborate, has been found across Africa. The oldest accurately dated example is this of a 82,000-year-old Nasurius snail shell found in Morocco that are pierced and covered with red ochre. The caves at Chauvet-Pondac contain the best-known example of prehistoric painting and drawing. This art is a remarkably reminiscent creation of animals and humans that employ a complex mix of naturalism and abstraction. Archaeologists that study the Paleolithic era humans believe that this painting is more than 30,000 years old.
Neolithic art, or the New Stone Age era, in which derived from two words, neo means new and lithic means Stone Age. As you can see, both Paleolithic and Neolithic comes from the Stone Age. The only difference between them is that Paleolithic comes from the Old Stone Age era and Neolithic comes from the New Stone Age era. In prehistoric art, the Neolithic art was created by societies to describe art and craft. Also, the societies abandoned their semi-nomadic lifestyle to perform farming and animal husbandry. One of the examples of Neolithic art is the photo shown in the presentation, which is Thinker of Cernavoda. In prehistoric art, the major art form of Neolithic art is an ancient pottery, including terracotta. Terracotta is literally from the Italian translation meaning cook earth. Terra meaning earth and cotta meaning bake. To simply put in words, terracotta is a sculpting using clay. You can see here the dates that Neolithic art or the New Stone Age era last. The America lasted from 2000 BCE to 500 CE. In Europe, including the northern, western, central, and southeast, the Neolithic art lasted from 7000 BCE to 1900 BCE, where in Asia, it lasted from 8000 BCE to 2000 BCE.
Egyptian art is widely considered to be one of the most striking art forms to ever exist. The famous Egyptian artwork that have remained to this day were created between the 31st and the 30th century BC, the 4th century AD too. For thousands of years, people have been fascinated and obsessed with the artwork that has emerged from the ancient Egypt. This is partially because the outstanding sculptures, paintings, drawings, jewelry, and architectural projects created by Egyptian painters, who also influenced Greek and Roman artists, use Egyptian art techniques. Both two-dimensional and three-dimensional elements were used in the creation of ancient Egypt art. It was said that two-dimensional art, as opposed to producing work that merely copied the physical world, presented the most representative aspects of each component in the scenes. The goal of the three-dimensional art was to provide the most accurate and realistic representation of the real environment, since statues of the gods, royalty, and the elite were created to reflect an idealized and romanticized depiction of the person. These artworks were perceived as having a very formal nature.
Classical antiquity is also known as the Greco-Roman world. It is the period in which both Greek and Roman societies flourished and wielded huge influences throughout much of Europe, North Africa, and Western Asia. The culture of the ancient Greeks, together with some influences from the ancient Near East, was the basis of European art, philosophy, society, and education until the Roman imperial period. Ancient Greek architecture is best known from its temples, many of which are found throughout the region. Ancient Greek architecture is distinguished by its highly formalized characteristics both of structure and decoration. The decorative sculptures of Parthenon, or called the Temple of Athena, are considered some of the high points of Greek art, an enduring symbol of ancient Greece, democracy, and Western civilization. The Greeks decided very early on that the human form was the most important subject for artistic endeavor. Seeing their gods as having human form, there was little distinction between the sacred and secular in art. The Winged Victory of Samothrace, or the Nike of Samothrace, is a masterpiece of Greek sculpture from the Hellenistic era. It is composed of a statue representing the goddess Nike, whose head and arms are missing and its base in the shape of a ship's bow. Sculptural or architectural pottery, also very often painted, are referred to as terracottas, and also survive in large quantities. In much of the literature, pottery means only painted vessels or vases. The hydra, primarily a pot for fetching water, derived its name from the Greek word for water. Of all the Greek vase shapes, the hydra probably received the most artistically significant treatment in terracotta and in bronze.
Roman art is a very broad topic spanning almost 1,000 years and three continents from Europe into Africa and Asia. The first Roman art can be dated back to 509 BCE with the legendary founding of the Roman Republic and lasted until 330 CE. One of the most Ron's art treasure and masterpiece is the Raphael's frescoes. Raphael is recognized as one of the most important artists of the High Renaissance period, alongside Michelangelo and Leonardo da Vinci, as Roman empires studied advanced innovation in architecture. Even their period of time is just amazing and fantastic. Even with the lack of technology, it can still be compared in today's art and crafts era. Fresco is a mural painting technique that involves painting with water-based paint directly onto wet plaster so that the paint becomes integral part of the plaster. For example, is the fresco from the Villa of the Mysteries, Pompeii, 80 BC. It is a large continuous fresco that covers three walls. One of the most preserved ancient paintings depicts a mysterious rite that is reserved. The story behind the sarcophagus of the spouses is it recomposed from about 400 fragments, and the sarcophagus of the spouses is actually an urn intended to hold the material remains of the deceased. As it has a hidden message, it has a conventional theme of the sarcophagus reflects